Price elasticity of demand. In the demand elasticity, we can identify there are three main elasticities. First one, price elasticity of demand. Second one, cross price elasticity of demand. And the third one, income elasticity of demand. We are going to discuss about here the price elasticity of demand. You can see here the point price elasticity of demand. If you have the percentage data, you can use the percentage equation. So the percentage equation is the point price elasticity of demand equal percentage change in quantity demand divided by percentage change in price. If you have the normal data, you can use the price elasticity of demand to calculate delta Q divided by delta P into P divided by Q. If the demand and the price ranges highly, the high ranges, you can use the arc elasticity of demand. The equation is delta Q divided by delta P into P1 plus P2 divided by Q1 plus Q2. So, according to value of coefficient, there are 5 types of price elasticity. The first price elasticity is perfectly inelastic demand. When you have these equations, you calculated the price elasticity and you receive the coefficient as 0, that is the perfectly inelastic demand. If you receive the coefficient as the less than 1, that means 0 to 1 answer coefficient, it is the inelastic demand. If you calculated after that you receive the coefficient as 1, that is the unitary elastic demand. If the coefficient is greater than 1, that means 1 to infinity coefficient, that is elastic demand. If the coefficient is infinity, that is a perfectly elastic demand. Then here, first we will discuss about the perfectly inelastic demand. Inelastic. Elastic means changing. Inelastic means not changing. The demand is not changing. So you can see here, according to the data, the price 10 to 20 like that increasing, but the quantity is not changing. The demand is not changing. Inelastic demand. So if you use the price elasticity of demand equation, the delta Q you can see 200. That means the difference delta, that means the difference is 0. Delta P 10 to 20, the difference is 10. Delta P is the 10. And we take the price as 10 and the quantity is 200. So the coefficient is 0. That means perfectly inelastic demand. In a perfectly inelastic demand, the curve is parallel to the price axis. Then inelastic demand. The price inelastic, that means price changing 10 to 20, that means the delta difference is 10. The quantity a slight changing, you can see here slightly change 200 to 175, that means 25 is the delta Q, and the price we take 10, the quantity is 200, the coefficient is 0.12, that means less than 1, that means inelastic demand. The minus mark shows the represent the negative relationship between price and quantity demand, the law of demand, inverse relationship. And the demand curve you can see here, it is bent like this, that means begins from the quantity axis, that is an inelastic demand. Then unitary elastic demand, you can see the price changes high ranges, you can see, and the quantity is also like that. So we take the arc elasticity of demand equation. The delta Q 5 to 4, that means delta Q difference is 1. Delta P 20 to 25, that means 5, difference is 5. And the P1 20, P2 25, and the Q1 5 and Q2 4. So you can see the calculation, the coefficient is 1. That means unitary elastic demand. So minus mark shows the represent the negative relationship between the price and quantity demand. And the consumer expenditure, you can see here. If you are a consumer, you know when you got the market, the quantity you are going to purchase and the price for each good, we calculate price into quantity, that is your consumer, that is your expenditure. So consumer expenditure in the unitary elastic, it is similar in each price. So you can see consumer expenditure is same one. And you know the consumer expenditure equal to the producer's revenue. That means our expenditure, consumer's expenditure is the producer's revenue. That means their income. So both are equal. And you can see the demand curve is like that. We call this one as the rectangular hyperbola. And the elastic demand, that means changing, elastic. So price 10 to 15, that means delta P is the 5 difference, and the Q 400 to 100, that means the difference is 300, and the price we take 10 and the quantity 400. So the coefficient is 1.5. The minus mark represent the price and quantity demand has the negative relationship, and greater than 1 answer coefficient you receive, that is the elastic demand. The demand curve begins from the price axis. So here the perfectly elastic demand, that means the demand is highly changing. The price is not changing, elastic, changing. The price 20, it is not changing. The quantity 200 to 100, that means delta Q is 100. So delta P is 0. So the coefficient is infinity, that is a perfectly elastic demand, and the demand curve is parallel to the quantity axis. Then the point price elasticity of demand spread from infinity to 0 in a linear demand curve which slopes downward. This is a linear demand curve, and the elasticity changing infinity to 0. In a linear demand curve, elasticity changing, but the slope is not changing. Slope constant, because delta Q divided by delta P in each point, the slope receive the similar amount. But the elasticity changing as a result of the price and quantity changing. In each price, the quantity is changing. The price changing and the quantity changing in each point. So that is why the elasticity changing because of the price and quantity changing. So you can see here in a linear demand curve, this point, that means the quantity axis intersect, that means the price elasticity is 0, perfectly inelastic demand. So this is midpoint, that means price elastic demand is equal to 1, that means unitary elastic demand, and unitary to 0, that means here you can see less than 1, that means inelastic demand. And here the price axis intersect, so that is the infinity. So infinity to 1, that means price elasticity demand is greater than 1, that means elastic demand. You can see the point price elasticity of demand spread from 0 to infinity because of the price and quantity changing. The slope is not changing. So that is the in a linear demand curve elasticity changing.